Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 11th of August, Friday, so I wish you a nice day and a great upcoming weekend. Now it's 20 to 11 in the morning, Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages. For this moment, there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you, but first of all, let me give you latest information about situation on the front lines. So even though there is not some extreme developments on the front, there are some local scale changes, and I will go from southern sectors up to northern ones. So Kherson region, it's mainly artillery duels between the sides, constant fight for control over these small islands in the Dnieper River and the delta of this river. And according to latest news, Russian forces in this area are conducting operation to neutralize Ukrainian wrecking and sabotage group that did manage to cross the Dnieper River in previous couple of days and establish a small bridgehead not far away from settlement Казачий Lager. According to latest news, that settlement is completely under Russian control, and the Ukrainian units were dispersed all along the river bank. And I guess during the day this clearing operation will continue from Russian side. Overall situation is operational pause, but once again latest activization of Ukrainian forces in this area, to me personally, definitely indicates that Zelensky's regime may have some plans to conduct mass crossing of Dnieper River simultaneously with the second wave of counteroffensive in Zaporizhzhia and South Donetsk sectors of the front, if that second wave will even take place. When it comes to these sectors, Zaporizhzhia and South Donetsk, on this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia, it's still operational pause. Second wave of Ukrainian counteroffensive nowhere to be seen, at least for now. But there are some minor changes. This morning we had the reports that Ukrainian forces did begin their local-scale offensive, yet another local-scale offensive in the direction of Rabotina, the settlement here, and on the southern side of Orekhov city. And according to data that we are receiving, this time Ukrainian forces actively using tanks. Up to 7 tanks have been seen this morning in this direction, several armored personnel carriers. And I guess during the day we will receive dozens of video and photo confirmations of destruction of that armored group. I'm quite sure Russian side is very well prepared to repel any Ukrainian local-scale offensive in that area. Second hot point in Zaporizhzhia sector, of course, is Pятихатки-Жеребянки sector here on the western side of front, but lately, last couple of days, this area was quite calm. Not that much activity is taking place, just a wrecking operation from both sides. When it comes to South Donetsk sector, main hot point, of course, this so-called Vremovsky Ledge, and according to latest news that we are receiving, as a result of yet another wave of local-scale offensive operations, Ukrainian forces did manage to enter Urozhaine, and they are now in control of western parts of this settlement, which is right next to Staromayorskaya village. And well, during the previous days, I did spoke about this area quite a few times, and I did said that if this settlement will become undefendable, or if defense of this settlement will require extreme losses on Russian side, then I guess Russian military leadership in this sector of the front will make decision to withdraw forces from Urozhaine, and I would not be surprised if during the day we will receive information that Russian forces have been withdrawn from that settlement. But by the way, let me remind you that Remevsky Ledge not even on the first line of defense of Russian forces on this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. Let's go to Donetsk, Donetsk sector of the front. It's three main hot points in this area. Marinka, traditionally it's Marinka, Krasnogorovka and Avdiivka. Even though some serious artillery duels are taking place between the sites and local scale recon operations, nothing is happening in the scale that will influence overall situation on this sector. I will say it's operational pause, and same goes for Bakhmut direction. On the northern flank of Bakhmut, initiative is in Russian hands, and I guess Ukrainian forces are not really able to conduct or even try to conduct some local scale offensive operations, at least for last few days. We did not see more or less significant activity from Ukrainian forces in this area, but when it comes to southern flank, there is some reports that Ukrainian forces did try to conduct yet another wave of local scale offensive in direction of Klishchevka settlement, but Ukrainian forces were met with Russian local scale offensive, simultaneous offensive, and as a result Ukrainian forces were forced to retreat on the initial positions that they had. So overall I guess it wouldn't be a mistake if I will say that initiative is in Russian hands in this sector of the front. Also when it comes to northern sectors from Seversk to Kupyansk, well, initiative is totally in Russian hands in these areas, and we are all basically on daily basis now receiving information about local scale successful operations of Russian forces in Liman direction, in Kupyansk direction. And by the way, I guess because of anticipation of large scale Russian offensive, Kiev began mandatory evacuation from many settlements in Kharkov region, including Kupyansk itself. And we have different accounts that indicates location of Russian forces from Kupyansk. According to some reports, Russian units are about 10-11 kilometers away. According to other reports, Russian forces are as close as 5-7 kilometers away. But me personally, I think Russian forces are even closer than that, because a few weeks ago we did had reports that Russian military personnel did manage to establish control over this forestry area here on the northern eastern side of Kupyansk, and recently we also had reports that Sinkovka, this settlement, is also become under Russian control, at least operational control. And if that's the case, then from this forestry to Kupyansk it's only about 2 kilometers distance, not much more than that. So let's see how will develop situation in this sector. As I said in my previous updates, it very well may be that my prediction about large-scale Russian offensive operation before end of this summer will become true, and we will see significant activization of Russian forces in the central and northern sectors of the front. And this is a quick summary of the situation on the battlefield. Now let's go through. And by the way, just a few minutes ago, many different sources did report about explosions in different areas of Ukraine, in Kiev, in capital, in Vinnytsia region, in Khmelnytsky region, and some other regions. I guess right now, as I'm recording this video, some drone and missile strikes are taking place, Russian drone and missile strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. About an hour ago, almost entire Ukraine was under air raid alert. So, of course, I will share additional information about it on my Telegram and in my second update later on. in the afternoon. Now let's go through some other news. And RIA Novosti is reporting that Vnukovo airport in Moscow was closed this morning, and I guess it's closed right now also. And according to RIA Novosti, a reason for it, drone that was spotted not far away from this area. And for now there is no reports for this moment. Was that drone shut down, or it did manage to go through Russian air defense systems? Of course, during the day we will learn some more, and I will share additional news on my Telegram and second update. And as I reported just a minute ago, RIA Novosti is informing us that according to Ukrainian media, this morning explosions were heard in Kiev, capital of Ukraine, and several other regions that are controlled by Zelensky's regime. I guess drone and Russian drone and missile strike are taking place right now on military and logistical infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. Let me continue. TASS news agencies reporting that near Kursk, 2 Ukrainian drones were shot down this morning. Yet another attempt from Kiev to strike deep inside Russian territory, but usually Russian air defense systems do work quite well and are managing to take down majority of Ukrainian drones. So next news is about situation on Kupyansk area. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian forces only need few kilometers to reach Kupyansk, what I just said minutes ago. And by the way, this was reported by head of administration of Kharkov region, Vitaly Ganchaev, during his interview on Solovyov live channel. According to him, Kupyansk is a major logistical hub for Ukrainian side, which is located on the river Oskol, and it will be extremely important, and it will be a great success for Russian side if and when Russian forces will establish full control over that settlement. As I said, I guess before end of this summer we will see quite a large-scale offensive in the northern Russian offensive in the northern sectors of the front, and Kupyansk probably will become under full Russian control. Let's continue. And RIA Novosti is reporting that Zelensky, according to Ukrainian media, Zelensky is planning to replace his defense minister, Alexei Reznikov, and according to this report here, 2 individuals are discussed, candidacies of 2 persons to become our next defense minister. One of them is current infrastructure minister Alexander Kudrakov, and second candidacy is Alexander Kamushin, strategic industries minister. So, well, I don't think change of leadership of defense ministry will in any way influence situation on the front line, but I guess this change, if it will take place, mainly connected with the Biden's administration, because there were many reports previously that Washington was not very happy with Reznikov, especially because of his extreme corruption. Because of extreme corruption that this person is involved. Of course, when we are talking about Ukraine, I mean, no one gonna be surprised to hear about corrupt officials, but Reznikov is something special, it seems like. I mean, he's stealing money from everywhere he can, and maybe Washington finally fed up with this individual, and they are demanding from Zelensky to replace him. And by the way, according to reports, including from Ukraine, Reznikov is very close to Zelensky, and he was very hesitant to replace him, at least up till now. Let's see how the situation develop. Also, RT's report that Poland is Polish government is admitting that Ukraine's counteroffensive will not succeed, and this time President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, made some statements that I guess will not make happy Zelensky and his associates. So according to Duda, Ukraine's counteroffensive against Russian forces will likely fail, and in his statements, Duda once again spoke about necessity to deploy even more weapons to Zelensky's regime. I don't think weapons gonna change anything really, because after all, it's men that are fighting and achieving success, not the weapons. But lately we clearly have quite a few indicators that relationships between Polish and Ukrainian so-called elites are deteriorating in quite a rapid pace. And well, these statements from President of Poland, I guess, only proves this point. And well, I'm reading this development as a part of preparation of Poland to at some point cut ties with the Kiev regime, or to prepare ground any way possible for invasion of western regions of Ukraine and to establish control over those regions. Let's continue, and RT is reporting. And by the way, I did share a few of these topics in my yesterday's second update. If you will have time, please check that update. You may find it interesting. And well, RT is reporting that Poland is planning to deploy 10,000 troops, 10,000 military personnel in a border with Belarus. And by the way, I don't think Polish elites are crazy enough to conduct any military action against Belarus or against Kaliningrad region of Russian Federation. But I'm quite sure Warsaw and current leadership of Poland are using difficult relationships with Russia and Belarus as a justification to deploy additional forces in the eastern borders. And I guess these troops will be in the first wave of invasion force of Poland in the western Ukraine. There are different statements about when and how Poland will try to establish control over the western regions. There are some reports that Warsaw now looking for a possibility to create some combined Polish-Ukrainian units, and under this pretext send its forces in the western Ukraine. Some other reports or predictions are suggesting that Poland will just cut ties at some point with Kiev. Poland will find the reasoning for this and will send its troops in the western regions of Ukraine under pretext to protect local population, including ethnic Poles. But whatever the case, at this point it seems truly inevitable that under whatever pretext, but Poland will eventually send its troops to western Ukraine. And by the way, as I said quite a few times before, I would not be surprised if some type of negotiations are taking place between Warsaw and Moscow, and maybe when Polish troops will enter western Ukraine, Russian side may try simultaneously at the same time to establish control over this Suwal corridor that are connecting Belarus with the Kaliningrad region of Russian Federation. It may happen. I'm not saying that it will definitely happen, but I did see scenarios in which Russia may try to establish control over this corridor between Belarus and Kaliningrad, in case when Poland and some other western neighbors of Ukraine will enter western regions of that failed state. Let's wait and see. And by the way, this news is also very important. The TASS news agency is reporting that according to some Western media articles, German government will announce in upcoming days, in next few days, decision that Germany will deploy or Germany will transfer to Zelensky's regime long-range Taurus cruise missiles, which is a very significant step towards escalation from Berlin, if this is true. Especially if we take into account range of those missiles, which is about 500 kilometers, and in theory, Zelensky's regime can hit even Moscow with these missiles. So very significant step towards escalation, and Moscow have to come up with some solutions to neutralize these new threats that will emerge if Taurus missiles will be delivered to Zelensky. Let me continue, and RT is reporting that Russia launches first moon probe in 47 years. Well, little bit of science. Great news, great news. As you know, Soviet Union was a pioneer in space explorations, and there were so many incredibly, immensely important achievements was made by Soviet space program. And well, I'm glad to see that Russia is going back to active exploration of the space. First step is moon, but that's a good beginning. Good beginning. Let's hope this program, this lunar program, will be success, and lunar module will land on the moon successfully, and it will and the entire this program will open a door for Russian space programs to conduct some further successful launches and successful missions. And let me continue. This is quite interesting. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that some Russian officials did receive smartphones on the Russian operational system Aurora. And well, this is quite interesting. As we all know, smartphones, they can be used as a gadget to conduct some information gathering operations for intelligence services. And well, I guess it's very important for security reasons that Russian officials are using Russian platforms on Russian operational systems, and well, hopefully this Aurora operational system and following operational systems will be good enough to compete with the Western operational systems that have monopoly, basically. I mean, a major one is of course Android, and Apple has its own operational system. But anyway, information is quite interesting. Let's see if it will work. And this is going to be last news for today's update. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian Foreign Ministry did made a statement that Russian government will support Western companies that will decide to stay in Russia. And by the way, according to Bloomberg, despite despite demands from Western elites and and dozens, thousands and thousands of sanctions on Russia, many Western companies did stay in Russia, and they are reporting record income, record profits by operating on the Russian market, which is understandable because they have less competition, because many Western companies flee Russian market. But same time, this information definitely does highlights that despite all this pressure from the Western elites, Russian economy is doing quite okay, and that does explain this record profits of Western companies that are staying on Russian market. This is it for first update. Quite short update. I hope you will find it interesting. And well, if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, or any other platform that you are active on. And if you think this project, this channel is interesting, useful, informative, and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and see you in the second update.